This is the decade of open banking, advanced intelligent systems that simplify every financial decision, turning data into a wealth of new insights for the customer. Bud Financial is a leader in the field. Founded in 2015 by Edward Maslaveckas and George Dunning, Bud's mission is to allow financial institutions to truly understand their customers so they can help consumers access the right products and create tools to personalize the banking experience, building financial resilience along the way. My name is Andrew Wilson, and this is A Moment With. Edward.
Andrew, great to see you. Come in.
So this is the heart of Bud Financial. Is it the same project as when you started, or has it evolved into something different along the way?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of what we're trying to achieve for the end customer is exactly the same. You know, the first idea was we would build it ourselves for customers. But what we found was the best way to get that outcome was actually to work with companies that already had those customers.
I see that the books on your shelves are creativity, Steve Jobs, this kind of stuff. Are you creating a kind of vibe that your employees that you now have can follow?
Yeah, there's a challenge, right, in that we're a technology business, we're a financial business, but ultimately we need to focus on people, right? So we need to sort of bring the cultural element of what people's money actually means.
Why don't we get into some details?
Sure.
Come and sit down.
Why not?
First of all, tell me a bit about open banking, and within that, the kind of core technology behind the Bud platform.
Sure. There's sort of 2 points that are important in open banking. It allows for the ability to move your data from one bank to wherever you want, whether it's another finance app, another bank. So that's one piece of open banking, is around data. The other is around payments. And open banking also allows you to tell your bank from somewhere else that you want to move money to another bank, another account, another person. So those two things really free up and they kind of disintermediate your financial control from your bank.
And where does Bud fit into that then?
So there's, as I mentioned, there's two elements in open banking. There's payments and there's the data access and the data movement. We do both, but there's a number of different open banking players with different focus areas. And we made the decision in around 2018 that our focus area within open banking would be around taking data and being able to understand what that data means for customers. So understanding your spending and being able to give the customer insight and also give the bank an idea of who their customers are so they can better serve those customers.
I've heard you talk before about an economy built around the consent of an individual.
Yeah, so it's funny. Before open banking, there wasn't really an agreement of how data should be shared. GDPR came in and also gave a kind of a consenting, putting the control back into the customer's hand of, you have data, it's valuable, and really kind of giving the customer the ability to control where the data is and who's doing what with that data. Open banking is that for your bank data, basically.
So when a bank or a banking organization or a banking system comes to you, what are they looking for? What are you looking for in them, and what can you offer them?
Sure. So, like I say, we can offer the access to data. So if they're onboarding a new customer and the customer is banked somewhere else, we can help the customer to share their data with that bank. But also then adding on top of that, we can tell that bank about that customer. So we on a technical level, we teach machines to understand what transaction data means. And so we do all that heavy lifting, and we can just turn to a bank and say, hey, this is John, this is what he spends, this is what he likes, what he doesn't like. And so they can instantly get an understanding of that person and actually serve them as a person rather than just one of a million customers.
So when I opened my first bank account many years ago, I was introduced to someone who I had their phone number, they knew my circumstances, they could make judgments on my behalf, they could inform me of things that I might be interested in. That all went away inevitably. Are we returning to that, but through IT? through AI even?
Yeah, that's certainly the hope. So we try and talk less about the core technology and more about getting back to that point where you have someone, or you used to have someone that probably knew your family, that banked your parents and your siblings, and understood your circumstances just beyond your income, and was able to offer you assistance. And like I say, a lot of that went away, but now with technology, the real hope is that people can get real financial assistance again.
What's the direction of travel for where you are? You've developed a lot since
Yeah.
being founded in 2015. Where are you headed now?
We really focused on getting a strong view of the customer based on that transaction data for a number of years. And what that means is now we're able to start to get to that assistance piece. And now it's about going that step beyond and saying, because we know who you are, we're able to offer you some tailored assistance and guidance. And that's the next problem. And that comes at a time where, yes, open banking's come around, so there's access to data, and also where there's big leaps internally at Bud and externally outside of Bud in the AI technology, in these language models that can make pretty good judgments based on information.
So the technology is moving fast. The culture is changing quite fast as well. How is recruiting for Bud? How easy is it to find people to bring on board?
I think the challenge for us, we've actually tried to keep the team quite close and like get rid of unnecessary layers of management. But what that requires is a certain type of personality. And I think that's the hardest thing, is finding, people talk about culture fit. And that means lots of things to different people. But really for us, it's about autonomous people that can go out and manage their own work.
And how have things developed or changed for you in terms of your leadership, in terms of management, in terms of having more people that you're responsible for and that you want to bring along in your direction?
So when I started the company, I was 25. I had this dream of a kind of flattened hierarchy. A lot of new founders fall into this mistake of trying to innovate everything. Over time, you learn that there are certain structures in place that are important. A hierarchy of, not of culture, that, I'm more senior than you, therefore I can treat you how I like. That's wrong. But what is right is ultimately there should be a clear decisioning hierarchy. And that's what we focused on, and that's what we talk about. Ultimately, when we make decisions, we move forward and we all go together once we've made those decisions.
And how do you see that progressing in terms of your vision? You've talked a lot about uncertainty, transparency, these things that are important to customers who are treating a brave new world of AI with a certain amount of trepidation. How do you see things progressing if they progress positively? What's your vision for the future in terms of the customer and his experience with the banking world?
Yeah, so we do certainly need to be careful from an AI perspective. I think what we're not building here at Bud is sort of general purpose AI technology. We are building discrete services that we deem as low risk. An AI that understands someone's finances and understands how their money operates, and then giving customers that insight, sort of really tailored down. Here are the key pieces of information you need to know. Here are some of the decisions you can make, and then allowing them to make those decisions on their behalf. We're not building technology that's going out and making decisions on the customer's behalf.
Are you in the right place at the right time for all this?
I think the UK has been an amazing innovation hub for financial services. We actually are massive exporters of business-to-business financial technology. And so we've got a mix of a very innovative, helpful banking market here, but also we've got a competitive side in the UK. For us, we've just launched in the US, and there's a wave of successful technology that's come from the UK gone to the US, and we're hoping to follow that path.
Perhaps it's worth just taking a snapshot of what the kind of personalized experience might be like in these days of open banking for the client, for the customer. What sort of experiences can they expect? How can things change for them as the technology develops?
What we're seeing now is, the first wave is there's a number of new fintech apps or, apps in the App Store, finance apps in the App Store that are now able to access your banking data through open banking and offer you insight into your spending, offer you tailored rewards or opportunities to find new financial products that are more relevant to you. as all things happen, the banks will start to adopt some of those experiences as well. So they've been testing them. We've been testing them with some of the big banks. And we'll start to see more of that financial assistance. First of all, it starts with insight. So here's what you spend, how you spend. Then there'll be some another layer of assistance that will follow that, which is here's an opportunity where you could save. And then we go beyond that, and there starts to be that, hey, based on your spending, there's a card that actually could offer you a more reward. For us, all of that personalized insight comes from that bank data. That's really the hub of your financial life.
So I suppose it's a slightly odd question, but a final thought. How does Bud change the world? And by that, I mean, do you feel that you're in the middle of some kind of revolution?
We always do. We are deeply excited about what we're working on. As an industry, that core, 10-step financial assistance, the 10 things that you could do better, isn't really on offer. And we had that vision in 2015. We were delivering it as our own app. We realized we needed to build some of these core technologies that were long-term investments. But I think now we are getting to that threshold point. As I said, we've built that core understanding of the customer, and now it's about that kind of recommendation piece. And we've now been able to build some of that with enterprise-grade technology. So I think we are very close to getting to our 2015 vision and mission, and that is really exciting. That's the thing we get out of bed to try and solve for every day.
Ed, pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, Andrew.